Hi, friends. Amanda Harris here, and I am coming to you with a video, the Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity 2026 update. So, February of last year, 2025, I posted a video called How I 3X'd My Income Using These Spiritual Laws. Now, this is March, early March. So I am posting a 1 year update. And I'm hoping to make some more video, not just I did some short form content, but doing some more longer form content in the next year, so you don't have to wait so long. But I bet y'all I'll do a 2027 update as well. So, in that video, the 2025 video, I talked about concepts from the book. That's The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gaines. I talked about how I applied those concepts and the stunning success that I had. I 3X my annual income over the course of 4 years. Spoiler alert. It's not really a spoiler, it's the title of the video. And in that video, I also talked about how and why I was recommitting. I initially started the Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity and really implementing them hardcore in my life in 2020. And then in early 25, I made this video. Oh, I've had this success and I'm recommitting now. How and why? In this video, March of 2026, I'm going to talk about the results I've had in that last year since the recommitting video. Oh, hey, I'm recommitting in 2025, 2026. What happened? Did it work? And how I'm recommitting here in 2026. So to talk about the book and the general concepts, Edwin Gaines talks about what her definition of prosperity is, and it's more than just money, right? It's about having great relationships that work all the time, that are honest and caring, having a healthy body that we can house our spiritual being in, right? She talks about wealth. The way Edwin says it is all the money we can spend. And she talks about having work that we enjoy. So that's whenever I talk about prosperity, I'm talking more than just about money in the bank. I like Edwin's definition. It has a little everything: health, wealth, love, relationships, all of the things that we want, right? To have a healthy life, happy life. So how do we get prosperity? In Edwin's book, she talks about the four spiritual laws. If you follow these four things, then you will have prosperity in your life. And the first one she talks about is tithing. In last year's video, I saved that one for the end because I thought it was it can be a little controversial, right? Not everybody, it takes a huge leap of faith to tithe. What is a tithe? A tithe is 10% of your income to the place where you get your spiritual food. So the hang up that I always had about tithing early on was it seemed so religious, right? And I didn't attend church. The Bible was great, had a lot of great things in it, but there were a lot of things I didn't like too. So tithing felt so biblical and so religious, right? But the way Edwin talks about it in her book is it's giving back to the place or person or place where you get your spiritual food, right? What is spiritual food? It's the messages that feed me spiritually, remind me who I am, make me feel closer to God or the universe, right? And so in her book, she talks about tithing. Yes, if you attend church and you get your spiritual food there, have at it, right? She talks about tithing to anywhere that you can get your spiritual food. She tells a really great story about being down and upset, and and sitting at a diner, and the waitress would come over and she would give her some encouraging words, and a little bit later she'd come over with the coffee again. She's like, "Girl, God hadn't brought you this far to let you down now." And after a few times, Edwin said, "Yes, that's right. I do have a beautiful life and I can make it through this," right? And she gave that waitress a tithe because she felt like she had reminded her who she was. She also talks about tithing to her massage therapist. You know, if she's really working on some deep emotional things, and she would tithe to her massage therapist. A couple of my favorites, what I did in 2020 was tithing to ACA. I'm a member of a 12-step group that's adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families. And I attend a phone meeting just about every day, most days, several days a week. And I knew that that's where I got my spiritual food. I knew that it helped me grow and be closer to the universe or God. That, to me, that was an easy one. For whatever reason, tithing came very easy to me, and I just wrote the check. I didn't write a check. I did the online payment, and I moved along, and it came very easy to me. I've also tithed too. Don't laugh. Don't judge. I watch these YouTube tarot card readers, and every once in a while I would hear a message that was like, that was from beyond. I needed to hear that, and would send a tithe to the YouTube creator, the tarot card reader. I have another one. Oh yeah, there for a little while I was working Louise Hay's book, Hardcore. You Can Change Your Life, You Can Heal Your Life, and felt like it was really helping me to grow and change. And so I sent a tithe to her nonprofit. So just know that this is reaping and sowing, right? Whenever I say thank you to the universe by giving back, whenever I put money out there, it always comes back to me. So that was that's the first spiritual law of prosperity. Next, Edwene talks about goal setting. She says it's so important for us to know what we want, and then to ask prayerfully to have some wants, right? God doesn't want us to just be around like a lump on a log, right? He wants us to have a full and happy life. And that might mean travel. That might mean having a new car. She talks about wanting a white Cadillac, and to not judge our wants, right? That some of them are going to be materialistic. Some of them are going to be more what I call responsible goals. Like I had this really great goal to pay off my student loan debt. I did it. Whenever I first got divorced, I had a lot of IRS debt and a lot of student loan debt, and that's all paid off. Whenever I started in 2020, it was probably about 120 grand in debt, and that paid off the last of the student loan debt in June of 2024. So felt really excited about that. But she talks about having these goals, and she sets out a step-by-step process. Have your goals, repeat them, pick 3 or 4, that's mine, 3 or 4. She says 12. That's a lot for me. But pick 3 or 4, repeat them in the morning and the evening. I didn't do that initially, but I am doing it now. And ask prayerfully, what do I need to change, or what do I need to do to achieve this goal, right? And visualize yourself. She has a step-by-step process of what to do in order to set and achieve goals. And so I think whenever I first started in 2020, one of them for sure was to go on a beach vacation. And I did that. I went to Puerto Rico in 2021. I don't remember, probably it was a lot with the paying off the debt, which I did. I don't remember the rest of my goals, to be honest. Let's see. The third spiritual law of prosperity is forgiveness. She says, forgive others, forgive yourself, forgive. And, having worked a 12-step program, like I mentioned before, I knew that, that was really important to let go of resentments. And I prayed. I like to write my prayers. I have a little notebook that I keep next to my chair. And so I would write every morning, God, help me forgive so-and-so, help me have compassion. And my favorite forgiveness prayer is, help me see them the way you see them, right? And being sure that I'm also working on forgiveness for self. Help me see myself the way you see me, forgiving myself on a daily basis and forgiving myself for some of the biggies from the past, right? She says that whenever we're holding on to resentment or hurt, it blocks us from God's gifts. It blocks us from giving God's gifts to others. So being sure that we're working on forgiveness, as a daily practice. And she has some other strategies or kind of tips in there on how to work on forgiveness, because a lot of people want to and aren't sure how, right? For me, it was a daily prayer. Help me see them the way you see them. And it really helped to kind of melt that, seeing them as a person who, had a lot of trauma and then dumped it on me, right? The fourth spiritual law of prosperity is divine purpose. And Edwene talks about this. It's different from goal setting. It's more of a way of life, right? And she talks about it in kind of two general senses, having this big problem that you see in the world, like racism or child abuse or hunger, and having something that I'm doing to help towards that. Some of us, our work is our can be our divine purpose, right? Um, I help, I'm an attorney and I help people during very difficult times in their lives. And so making sure that I'm doing that with kindness and love, right? But she also talks about, some people build dollhouses and just making sure that I'm doing that in a way that glorifies God. I'm spreading love and light. I'm making sure that I'm being kind in my work. So I believe in 2020, whenever I first committed, it was really just making sure that I was kind at the office, because I can sometimes in my attempt to help others, I can get a little mean or naggy. So making sure that I'm offering my guidance and then letting go of the outcome instead of trying to change another person, right? So last year in May of 2025, I left it. I made a video. And I said, okay, guys, I'm recommitting to the spiritual laws of prosperity. Why did I do that? I was single and I didn't want to be single anymore. It was a pain point for me. I was several years out of my divorce. I got divorced in 2018, so about 7 years out of my divorce. I'd had a relationship that ended badly and I had been in a lot of pain, but I was finally starting to come out of that. And I wanted a relationship. And it kind of dawned on me, because at that point, I had 3x my annual income over 4 years. I had 3x my annual income. And I thought, man, these spiritual laws worked so good, right? Worked so good in regards to work and finances. And one of the aspects of prosperity, if you remember, is relationships, right? So I thought maybe I should reconnect to see what I can do for relationships. I wanted a healthy, loving relationship. So I knew that I was recommitting to halfway just to see if it worked, right? I wonder if this would work. It works so well for my income. I wonder if it would work for relationship. So my 2025 actions, I continued tithing. Like I said, for whatever reason, tithing came pretty easily to me. But I did realize at the end of the year, I had all this investment income that I had not tithed on. So I got a cashier's check and sent it directly to Edwina. I found her address on the internet and sent that to her. So in 2025, I wrote out some new goals. I have trouble adding new ones. I guess I just feel so happy and content in my life that sometimes I'll have some goals, but they're not. They're kind of fleeting. So I took the time and wrote out some new goals. One of them is that I wanted to have a healthy, loving relationship. I was finally ready to lose some weight, to slim down a little. That's something that I had been an avid gym rat for many, many years. And then in my 40s, had let a lot of that go and had a different, bad attitude about it. But I was finally ready that, I wanted to lose a little bit of weight. And I also, so I asked prayerfully, what do I need to do to achieve these goals, right? So far as the relationship goes, I took some steps. I did some coaching. I did some NLP coaching to help change my mindset, because I had a really poor mindset about men and relationships in general. It was hard for me to believe that there was a healthy man out there for me, because I'd had so many bad experiences. I also did Adam LaDolce's. This isn't really a plug for him. I'm not sponsored, but I did Adam LaDolce's relationship and dating coaching program after I did that, and followed the directions, right? Like really got out there more, had a better attitude. Young Ryan's something I wouldn't have done before, is I asked a friend of the young man I had my eye on, hey, what's the story with him? Is he single? And that's something that I learned from Adam's program that I probably wouldn't have done had I not taken it. And then as far as losing weight, I started eating less and exercising more. It wasn't anything extreme. At that point, I wasn't even counting calories. I was just like, oh, if I usually eat this much, maybe I should try this much. So worked on that, setting some goals and taking some actions. In 2025, also, I recommitted to forgiveness. I had done a lot of forgiveness work on the biggies, the ex-husband, the mom. And so just trying to make it more of a daily practice, the people who are annoying me or making me resentful on a daily basis, right? What can I do to make sure that I'm incorporating them into my forgiveness practice, right? So also I committed to my divine purpose, fight the new drug program. So the relationship that I had that ended poorly, there was a I believe that pornography had a big part to do with why that relationship was painful for me. Not I believe it was painful for me because of my partner's use of pornography. And I tried to have a lot of compassion that, a lot of people start that habit at a young age. And I came across Fight the New Drug program. And Fight the New Drug is I guess it's a nonprofit. They go to schools and they give talks and programs to middle schoolers and high schoolers about the harms of pornography on our mind, on our relationship, and society in general. And I decided I wanted to try to bring that to my local school, right? So first I went to my Rotary Club. Hey, Rotary Club, I would love if we could do this, or can we foot the bill? And they said, yes, we would love to do that. And then I went to the school. Okay, Amanda, you need to go to this committee, this school board committee. In any event, I made that kind of a divine purpose for me, that I wanted to help spread the word and maybe stop pornography addiction by letting kids, young people know earlier about the harms. In 2025, I also decided that sharing the 4 spiritual laws was one of my divine purposes, right? And I have a friend who we would meet once a week or once every other week. I started making some YouTube shorts. I started a meetup group. I couldn't get any traction there. And then finally, it's funny because she talks in one of the chapters about commitment, right? And then whenever I finally got on my private Facebook group and said, hey, 4 spiritual laws, I've read this book and I had this success. Who wants to join me? And now I have, over the last month, I've created a little Facebook group, and we talk about 4 spiritual laws, and we're doing a weekly Zoom meeting where we talk about the 4 spiritual laws and what we're doing to live those, right? So my May 2025 results, I'm in a great relationship. It worked. Ryan and I have been dating for almost a year. We started dating in May of 2025. So I made my video at the end of February 2025. Worked on my mindset, worked on my coaching, my relationship and dating coaching, and met Ryan in May. And and just so to clarify, prosperity and having great relationships doesn't mean perfect relationships. She says relationships that work all the time. And what that means is we treat each other with love and respect. Whenever we hurt each other's feelings, we let each other know, and we promise to work on it where we are accountable. And the growth, we both want to be our best versions of ourselves, right? So we inspire each other to do better, and it's going great. It's going great. I'm very super excited about the progress that I've made there. I had a huge financial windfall in June. I think I mentioned earlier that I'm a lawyer. I'm a family law and criminal defense attorney in a small town. And it's kind of a hustle gig. You make per client. I've never been one of those lawyers that, had the money just fall out of the sky in a big, large amounts all at once. And in June of last year, I had completely forgotten about sending this car accident case to a lawyer in Amarillo. And about an hour away, because I don't do car accidents. Hey, you guys, go talk to Ed. He'll take care of you. And Ed contacts me last year and says, hey, we're settling this case. Send me your W-9 and I'll send you a check for $40,000. And that happened. wasn't sure if I should tell you guys about the amount and all, but I because if I heard that, I'd probably roll my eyes. Yeah, right, whatever. But that happened, and I believe so. Whenever we're working these 4 spiritual laws, the money doesn't always come where we think it's going to. God gives it to us in ways that delight and surprise us. That's something that Ed Wein says. And it was such a gift, and it was such a testament to the 4 spiritual laws, because like I said, I had completely forgotten about it. I think it had been almost 2 years that I had sent that over, and I did very little. It didn't take a lot of effort from me, right? I did help with some of it there at the end, but for the most part, I cashed my check, and it was of course I tithed on it, and it was such a glorious gift from the universe. I had a little health hiccup in the fall, and it ended up getting resolved. I was worried there for a minute. Oh my God, I might have to have surgery. What's going on? But it ended up being a fairly easy fix. So I was very excited about that. And I have lost almost 20 pounds. I am doing some calorie tracking now, and starting my exercise habit a little bit more consistent. And so been very pleased with my results there. So 2026 commitment. What am I doing? I have a new list of goals. Getting more specific, instead of I want a beautiful, organized, clean, organized home. I want to remodel my kitchen this year, right? Wanting to lose a little bit more weight, slim down a little more. Some financial goals, of course, about how much I want to make or how much I want to save. And so I actually, this time I am repeating them Edwin, I didn't do this in the past, but now repeating them, I'm actually write them 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening. I have a little reminder set on my phone, and it goes off at 9:00 and pulls my goals up, and I go ahead and repeat those 3 times each. With my divine purpose, I am doing a weekly prosperity Zoom call, and I'm feeling super excited and committing to sharing the word on my Facebook group. So if you're interested, Prosperity Pals is the group. It's women. Men, of course, are welcome. Whenever I first put the call out, hey, is anyone interested? Only women responded. So I've kind of just went with that. But of course, men are more than welcome. Oh, Prosperity Pals Facebook group, sharing information. I'm going to try to make more videos here as well. So if you're interested in working with me and learning more about the prosperity, the 4 spiritual laws of prosperity by Edwin Gaines, you can read the book and you can figure it out. But if you want help or guidance from someone who's been there and been doing it since 2020, so 6 years now, then feel free to contact me at amandaharriscoaching@gmail.com, or find me on Facebook with the Prosperity Pals group. So thank you so much. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for coming. And I hope to see you in my Prosperity Pals Facebook group. Have a great day. Love you. Bye-bye.